Why do I upload the videos? Why do I push as hard as I push for what I do? Everything I do, everything I upload is to help other people, is to make people realize that there's more they can be and more they can do. You know, I know what it feels like to be downtrodden. I know what it feels like to be lost and not know the direction out of the situation you're in. I've been there. Please! 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 I've lost 12 people from my life to suicide. It's the reason I became an ambassador for Lifeline, for Suicide Prevention Australia, the reason I speak for spoken for Zero Suicides, for Mates in Construction, for NatCon USA. The reason I've spoken for all these charity groups is because I want to change things. It's because I want people to realize that there's more on the flip side of this. You know, when life pushes you down to a low level, sometimes you get this victim mentality, and we're very quick these days to look in our lives and always see the negative and always see the thing that we can't achieve, the thing we can't do, the thing we can't come back from, and how bad we are and how we don't quite figure out and we don't quite work. And you have to understand that inside you there is good, great, amazing things. And you've got to try and latch onto them, no matter how small they are. The smallest thing, which might be insignificant to someone else, might be the largest thing in your world. And you've got to find that. You've got to find that stuff. And you know, there's simple things for me. I mean, when I grew up, my parents were good, man, but I had a downtrodden childhood as far as my schooling. My teachers hated me. I was told I'd be in prison or dead by 21. My kindergarten teacher told me that I'd be the reason she quit the profession. I was told I would amount to nothing, you know, but over time I learned to find one thing to latch onto, one thing to fight for. And at the time it was weight training, and that took me to the Mr. Universe by the age of 20, you know, and martial arts was one of the other great founding factors of my life. And I found the funny thing was when I was at my peak in bodybuilding, when I was 20 years of age, 21 years of age, and I was representing Australia in the Mr. Universe competition, and I was massive, I was probably the most self-conscious I'd ever been in my life. I always felt people were bigger than me. It was always like a form of anorexia. And I kept needing to be bigger, needing to be stronger, all these things. And I felt so self-conscious of where I was at. And it wasn't until I regrounded myself back in the martial arts that I started to realize that there's more to it than the superficial. You know, having the musculature and all the strength and everything else is fantastic. But if there's nothing inside, if there's nothing that's holding you together in here, there's nothing you believe about yourself to be good and be worthwhile, then it's all for nothing anyway. You've got to search for it, you've got to look inside and you've got to find it. If life's bad and life's pushing you down and people don't believe in you, it doesn't matter. Find the one thing of yourself to believe in, one small skerrick of life to latch onto. You know, I changed my life at 13. When my mates' parents laughed at me when I said I wanted to be the national bodybuilding champion, I was as skinny as a rake, and they laughed. They almost laughed me out of their house, and I went back to the gym and I sat on the bench, and I remember looking at the photographs on the wall of Schwarzenegger and Ferrigno and all these top bodybuilders and going, you know what, I'm going to show the world what I can be. And my aim at the time was to win the nationals, and I worked for that. It took 7 years. And that's the other thing. I think today we've got this really strange mentality where we want stuff straight away. We don't want to work for it. We don't want to fight for it. And good stuff takes time, you know. And the thing that I learned was that it was always said that you can be anything you want to be in life, but you can't be everything. Now I think that's bullshit, because I'm working every day towards being everything I ever wanted to be. You know, I started off in bodybuilding, martial arts, then it was movies, now it's speaking, and I'm moving through the facets of life that I want to achieve and making sure I tick them off as I go. And you can be everything you want to be. You just got to be prepared to put the time in. You got to be prepared to take the hits and face the negativity. And we've got to get out of this victim's mentality. You know, nothing pisses me off more than people that are victims. You know, we aren't victims. We're warriors. We're fighters. We're people that have gone through amazing things to make it this far in our lives. And we've got to look deeper inside ourselves to find that warrior, to find the person we truly are. And it takes work. It takes looking at the horrible stuff. It takes looking at the things that aren't great about yourself. And you have to change them. You have to fix them because no one else will. That's important. You know, when I decided to change at 13, when I decided I wanted to be something, no one believed in me, no one helped, and I had to do it on my own. And it was a long road. But you know what? It was a worthwhile road, because what I got from winning the Nationals, and I had massive injuries on the way. I smashed my knee a week before the Nationals. I had to get fluid drained out of it every single day, and I still got out on stage and I won the show. And it wasn't the winning the show that was the victory. It was what it made me feel afterwards. You know, the trophy didn't really matter. It was the achievement that I'd attained something that I'd fought for so long that everyone said I wouldn't make. You know, and that was the pinnacle moment for me. That was when I realized that my mind could do lots of things. And then I thought, well, if I can do that, then I can do this, and I can change to this and become this. So once you mastered something, you can keep remastering things. So you can take that same skill set and you can transfer it to the next thing and to the next thing, and shave many, many years and many, many heartaches off your next goal, your next potentially, you know, successful endeavor. I have to tell you, in 2014, I faced one of the worst times I'd ever been through in life, when I started feeling that victim's mentality. And you know, we'd lost our film, I'd lost my career, we'd lost our money, we looked like we were going to lose our home. It was just going from hit to hit to hit. And I truly believe it's not one bad situation to kill somebody. I think it's a multitude of situations after another. So there's this cascade effect, like a domino effect, that goes 1, 2, 3. If you know, you lose your job, you lose your money, you lose your home, you lose your partner, it all just goes down. And then you go, you know what, what's the point? And if it happens in a very short space of time, it's the same when you get somebody in a very strong joint lock and you can push them down. You know, what happens, the body has a natural cutoff to stop the hurt. A natural cutoff to stop the hurt. And so you fall down. And so that's what happens to us. We fall down and we don't understand in ourselves how we can possibly find a way back up, because we're so trapped inside a problem, we can't see the way out. We can't see the light. The pressures of life are all around us. We can't get that moment of breath. It's important to work out how to breathe. And I latched on to little things, the small things that made the big differences. When I was stuck on a building site doing construction, jackhammering 10 hours a day, I remember having the flu. I had influenza A and B at the same time. And I was on a 120-pound jackhammer, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, whilst having that, still punching out all the work I had to do, because we needed the money for the family. Otherwise we'd lose the home. And you know, you just go through what you got to go through to make it. And you're amazing what you can dig out of yourself when you have to. You know, and it's those moments where I think people forget. They don't think about all the hard times they've been through, and the things that they've succeeded through, fought through, and become greater from. On the flip side of hardship, there is good stuff, there is great stuff, and you got to still fight for it. But there's great stuff there. You know, you don't get mastery in martial arts out of thin air. You got to work for it. You know, I've been doing this stuff for many, many, many years, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. You know, weights was the same. It's the same in movies. It's the same in speaking. There's always more to do. There's always something better to become. There's always more to work for. And you just got to dig deep and do it.